The second pillar in our season of moral repair has to do with our national security agenda. You see, we have a corporate aristocracy in this country. We have transitioned from a vital democracy to a functioning aristocracy. It is a corporate aristocracy made up of insurance companies and big pharmaceutical companies and gun manufacturers and chemical companies and food companies and agribusiness and oil and gas and defense contractors. Our government, as I said, does more to advocate for their short-term profits than to advocate for the safety, the health, and the well-being of us and our children and the people of the world and the planet on which we live. Now, when it comes to war and peace, there are simply more corporate profits to be made preparing for war than preparing for peace. But as John F. Kennedy said, if mankind does not end war, war will end mankind. We should have a national goal of leading the world on a path whereby at the end of this century, humanity will be at a place, even if it's not at a place yet where war is over, but where humanity will be able to imagine such a time from a reasonable place. Now, in order to do this, we have to look at what's happening now. We have a military budget of $760 billion a year, and our State Department budget is $40 billion. State Department has to do with mediation, has to do with development, and it has to do with diplomacy. Now, within the State Department, $17 billion goes to the USAID, and the USAID is long-term development and humanitarian assistance. In addition to that, also within the State Department budget is less than $1 billion that goes to the peace-building agencies. Now, some people don't know what peace builders do, but in fact, peace building is a level of expertise and skill set that is every bit as sophisticated, and given some of the places where these skills are practiced, takes every bit as much courage as does military skill. There are 4 factors which make up what's called peace building internationally. Number 1, the expansion of economic opportunities for women. Number 2, the expansion of educational opportunities for children. Number 3, the reduction of violence against women. And number 4, the amelioration of unnecessary human despair. You see, desperate people do desperate things, and desperate people are more vulnerable to ideological capture by genuinely psychotic forces. So whether you're talking about a corner of an American city or whether you're talking about another place in the world, we should see large groups of desperate people as a national security risk. And so whether it has to do with domestic policy or whether it has to do with international policy, the core principle on which we will stand if I'm President of the United States is this question: what policy would most help people thrive? You don't just take medicine, you have to cultivate health. And you can't just prepare for war. You have to wage peace. This is why James Mattis, before he left the Defense Department, said, if you don't fully fund the State Department, I'm going to have to buy more ammunition. The truth of the matter is we put way too much burden on our military because we let conflicts develop that should never have developed in the first place. Just like we practice preventative medicine, we should practice preventative conflict. We should practice a way of being that increases the incidence of peace and decreases the incidence of conflict. That's what the peace-building skills do. And that's what we'll do when I'm president, because we would have a Department of Peace as well as a U.S. military.